Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for manager Marty.
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much. Now let's get into the Deontay Wilder versus the Robert Helenius pay-per-view fight happening this weekend. In fact, Saturday night on pay-per-view live, to be exact. This is a fight that could go either way. And I say either way because if you look at this fight on paper, it looks like this is a balanced fight. And when you put all of the ingredients together, you will discover that it is a balanced fight. Now, of course, Deontay Wilder is the favorite to win this fight. The question is, how will Deontay Wilder win this fight if he does win? And if Robert Helenius wins, the question becomes, how does he win? So let me give you some background on both fighters, and then I'm going to tie in some of the business aspect of this fight. So we all know the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder. He's 6 feet 7 inches tall. He has a record of 42 wins, 2 losses, with 41 of those 42 wins coming by way of knockout. He has a 91% knockout ratio, which is the best in the heavyweight division of all time. Deontay Wilder did lose his last 2 fights that he fought, obviously by knockout, devastating knockout. One was the TKO against Tyson Fury, and then in the rematch, he fought Tyson Fury again, where he actually got knocked down 2 times and then obviously knocked out. But if you look at it on paper, in his last 6 fights, his last 6 opponents had a combined record of only a total of 2 losses. So that is a credit to good manager, good promoter, good business. His opponent, on the other hand, Robert Helenius, is 31-3 with 20 knockouts. So he has 31 wins, 3 losses, and 20 of those 31 wins come by way of knockout. In his last 3 fights before Saturday night's fight, all of them ended by knockout. In the 2nd round, the 4th round, and then in the 6th round. And he himself also fought the same person twice in Adam Kowalski. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. So this is a good match on paper. Now, the reason why I say it's a good match on paper is because Deontay Wilder is coming off of 2 knockout losses, and this will be his first fight back in competition. He hasn't fought in, at this point, over 1 year, approximately 1 year to the date. So this is his first fight back in over 1 year. But of course, he's not coming off of a loss on points. He's coming back off of not just 1 loss by knockout, but 2 losses by knockout. And then you have Helenius, on the other hand. He's coming into this fight with great momentum because in his last 3 fights, particularly the last 2, he knocked out the same guy twice. Now, there are some facts to both opponents that tie them together. The first fact is they know each other. And the second fact is the reason and the way that they know each other. And that is because they are sparring partners. They're not sparring partners currently, obviously, but in the past, they have been sparring a lot of times. And this is not by hearsay by me. This is by Deontay Wilder's mouth himself. And so Deontay Wilder himself acknowledged in interviews, recent interviews within the past 2 to 3 weeks, that both of these fighters know each other very, very well. Now that can play into a strength for Wilder, and that can play into a strength of Helenius, because they know each other's strengths. They know each other's weaknesses. They can actually capitalize off of both into the fight. Now, let's get to the business side of this. On the business side of this fight, this is a good business move for Deontay Wilder's camp, because obviously he's coming off of 2 losses by knockout. So you want to be able to manage him properly when you're trying to get him back into the rankings, get him back acclimated to the ring experience, get him back acclimated to shaking off that ring rust, right? Having not been in a competitive fight for a year. And on top of that, you want to be able to build his confidence up by not putting him in the ring with a huge power puncher, especially coming off of 2 knockout losses or even 1 knockout loss. Most fighters are never the same when they get knocked out. I always tell people this privately, and I will say this publicly. There is a difference between losing a fight in the ring by knockout. This is the difference. Some fighters get beat up and some fighters get beat down. There's 2 types of beatings in the sport of boxing. And if you heard that anywhere else, I can assure you that that person got that from me, that quote. But in any event, we have to see how Wilder reacts to getting hit with a guy who's coming off of 3 losses. With a guy that's coming off of 2 knockout wins. Well, in his case, 3, because he did knock out the same guy twice. So it's really 3 knockout wins, but 2 knockouts by 2 different fighters. So we have to see how Wilder responds to that. What is his resistance like? Will he respond like he usually responds after he gets hit, which means that he's fighting back. He's throwing a punch back. He's looking for the counter after he gets hit. Or will he be gun shy? Most people that get in the ring and get knocked out, especially in their first fight back, they're usually a little bit gun shy. They're usually hesitant to throw a punch because they know a counter can actually come back to them. And something happens in your mind, and this is a humanistic trait, that is, when you experience trauma and when you revisit the scene of the crime, or when you revisit the traumatic experience, sometimes you can get triggered to fight, freeze, or flight. And so we have to see if Deontay Wilder will be able to do the fighting and not the freezing or the flighting in this fight. This is a pay-per-view fight. That's the second reason why, on paper, this is a great matchup for both competitors, but also from a business standpoint. Because listen, not only is Deontay Wilder getting in there with a guy that he knows very well through his experience with sparring with him, but he's able to actually capitalize off of making a lot of good money in 2 ways. Number one, obviously, the pay-per-view streaming opportunities, but also it's going to be at a location that Deontay Wilder is very familiar with here on the East Coast in Brooklyn, New York, the Barclays Center. One of my favorite venues to watch a fight at, especially here on the East Coast, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Deontay Wilder is a great ticket seller at the Barclays Center. You've seen this when he fought Louis Ortiz, some of you. And he fought there another time, too. In fact, I met Deontay Wilder at the Barclays Center. Now, he wasn't fighting. He was just as a spectator. And I actually saw Deontay Wilder. He had just got finished fighting Bermane Stavern, I think like a month prior to. And he had his new WBC heavyweight championship belt with him. And we took a nice picture together. We busted up and talked. Very humble guy. And so on the flip side of that coin, though, Robert Helenius, he has the opportunity to cash all his chips in on Saturday night at the Barclays Center because he's fighting his first time on a pay-per-view card, and he's headlining the card. So he also, from a business standpoint, he's going to make a good penny as well, a handsome ransom, as they say. He's going to make a couple dollars in this fight. But he has to come into this fight with that momentum. You know, he's coming in 3 knockouts consecutively in his last 3 fights, and he's going to come not to lay down for Deontay Wilder because, once again, he knows Deontay Wilder. But the fact that he knows Deontay Wilder can actually play to his demise because everybody knows Deontay Wilder with this one aspect, NyQuil. And he has NyQuil in his right hand because when he hits you with that, most people are going to sleep. And the only person that got up from the right hand at least twice is Tyson Fury. Speaking of Tyson Fury had a weight advantage over Deontay Wilder in all 3 of their fights. Robert Helenius, he's coming into this fight. He has the weight advantage. You know, he's coming in at 6 feet 6.5 with a 79-inch reach. And then Deontay Wilder's coming in at 6 inches 7 feet tall with an 83-inch reach. So the jab is going to work really good for Deontay Wilder. But Deontay Wilder is never accustomed to using jabs. So he does have a new trainer and a former fighter from Philadelphia named Malik Scott. So hopefully Malik Scott and Deontay Wilder have been implementing the jab in their training and in their training camp for this actual fight, because it's going to definitely benefit Deontay Wilder. The question becomes, how will Deontay Wilder win? Will he win by knockout? We will see live this Saturday evening at the Barclays Center on Fox pay-per-view when Deontay Wilder comes back in his ring return against Robert Helenius.